I used to read a lot as a kid, but when I got older, around the time like I joined high school, I stopped reading as much, and it went less and less. And also, I started picking up a lot of other bad habits and being a degenerate. But that's not really the point of this video. I stopped reading, and I actually kind of just stopped reading completely. Up until like a little over a year ago, I started reading a little bit again, and I started building it up thanks to self improvement and Hamza and all these other people who encouraged me to start reading. And I worked my way up, and now since the start of this year, I already read like 12 books, and I reread a lot of chapters and passages from old books that I already read. So I've been reading a lot recently. The self improvement community always said that you should read books because you learn better from books. It's a more holistic way of learning. It's better than podcasts and videos because a book is just a book. And I always found this kind of weird, but still I wanted to read and I liked reading, so I picked up reading again. And then when I really got into it, after like reading quite a bit, I finally figured out the real power of books. And it's not that you learn better from reading books or anything, but I don't know the right word for it, but I would say the real power of books is immersion. The dictionary defines immersion as the fact of becoming completely involved into something. During the time I was reading Ego's the Enemy is when I really started looking at myself and my ego and how it was affecting me and the people around me, and also how other people were acting out from their ego. Before I read this book, I actually thought I had my ego kind of under control and it was not really a problem for me, which could not be farther from the truth. Now I know so much about it. But the point was that while I was reading this book, I was always thinking about my ego. It was always on the forefront of my mind. When I was reading How to Win Friends and Influence People, it was always on my mind how I was being social, how I was in every social situation, what the words I was saying were doing to people, what it meant, what I was doing. I was noticing everything I did wrong, everything I did right, and it was just on the forefront of my mind at any point of time when I was in a social situation, what I could be doing better and what I was doing wrong, which is really powerful. When I listen to a podcast or I watch a video or anything, I do retain a lot of information actually, but it's a different type of information. It's the information that once the video is over, you don't think about it that much. You will think about it maybe a little bit. If it was a really good video, you know it over in your head a little bit, but it just stays in the back of your mind and you kind of just know it, but that's about it. With a book, however, you spend so much time reading it that it's always going to be on the forefront of your mind. Without fail, the topic you're reading about is always going to be influenced and it's always going to be something you're really thinking about in the long term. If you spend a large amount of time with a certain topic for multiple days, then there's no way it's not going to influence you. I think this is the real power of books. When you're reading a book, you're forced to focus on a certain topic and really delve deep into it for an extended period of time, for like hours a day, for probably around maybe a week. And then it has to be in the forefront of your mind. It has to grab your attention and it has to be something you're thinking about, at least when you're reading the book. And it's always going to overflow into your day-to-day life. This is definitely going to increase your proficiency in the subject at hand, because you're not just learning from the book itself. The lessons and stuff, of course, you're learning from them, but then you're thinking about it, you're putting it into action because it's just subliminally gonna happen. And this is when you really start learning. Because now you're learning from the book, you're learning from yourself, you're learning by thinking about it, and it's just so ingrained into what you're doing that you have to learn so much, and you're going to really like 10x your knowledge about this subject and your skills in it. It doesn't matter what it is. There's a way you can really take advantage of this. If you are in a situation where you need to be social soon, or you have like a camp coming up, or like a big social gathering, or you're going on a trip where you want to be social and meet a lot of people, read How to Win Friends and Influence People during the trip or right before it. Same with other books. When you want to start a new habit, or you start a bunch of new habits, you have all these new goals that you're setting, or you recently started some habits and you don't know how to keep track of them, read Atomic Habits, so you're really ingrained into the making of habits and you're going to be really good at it, which is also a big plus. You can use the fact that you're so immersed into this subject that then you have to focus in on the topic and you're going to be amazing at it, and you're going to learn so much while doing it that it's going to be just this infinite feedback loop of reading about it, thinking about it, and then the more you think about it, the more you're focusing on it, the more efficient your learning is going to be, the more efficient your skills are going to become at it in such a quick time. If you've read a lot of books, let me know what you think about this assessment. Be better than you were yesterday. I'll see you next time.